beautiful, wonderful time. A very good evening. This is the Boss Media Show, episode 13, with incredible, gorgeous, wonderful, amazing Lumka Lulu.
And the crowd roars. Hi, Nala.
Hey, Lumka, how are you, my doll?
Good. What a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
You are incredible, by the way. And I don't think you understand and you know the level of work that you've put in this industry. And that's the reason why we have you today. So if you don't know, Lumka Stone is a filmmaker extraordinaire. I mean, she's worked pretty much on every single level there is in film production, including being an actress. Do you know what I mean? So when we talk about owning the value chain, you, my darling, have absolutely done that. Just give us a brief background of who you are and, you know, who is Lumka Stone?
Yeah, Nanala, different, so many layers, right? So many layers. And, you know, it is a conscious effort, you know? So basically, I'm just a girl from Benoni.
Right? Just like Charlize Theron. For a moment there, you gave me Charlize Theron vibes.
Just like
what's
her.
In the water?
And we've actually...
There's something in that water.
Hey?
What?
Our homie. We did a film called... it was called The Last Space. And we shot it in Cape Town. So Charlize is like a homegirl, you know? So as I was
saying... Did you tell her? Did you tell her though? Did you tell her like, hey,
I was like, hey, homie. You know,
I love that.
She's so lovely. She was so embracing and like just so wonderful. And but let me just start from the beginning, you know. I grew up in Benoni, and you know, growing up in those days, it was a little bit tough, you know, obviously as a person of color, you know, it was really, really tough. But you know, we got through it, right? Then I went to study some drama. I did theater acting and all of that. Then I went on to do radio work. You probably remember that. But I did some community radio work, and that was after varsity. And then one day I decided, let me go to Cape Town, right? And just for a vacation, right? Little did I know that that place was going to shape my life. It's like Cape Town's just a whole different place, you know? Yeah. And it was just so incredible. It was such a like life-changing moment, you know, just deciding to go there. So that's where I saw the international world, you know? And that's where I was like, wow, we have so much to offer. Not only do we have so much to offer, but everyone from abroad just loves our work ethics. They love our landscapes. They just want to keep coming. Like I was saying, Charlize was just so happy to be back. And, you know, you can actually see, you know, in someone's face when they beam with joy, and they just do amazing work, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, just a quick snippets. Yeah.
I love that. And you talk about, you know, in your international portfolio, and I know that it's pretty big. I mean, you've worked on some incredible productions. Can you just name a few, just like name drop a few, because we need to understand the depth.
The depth, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the very first job that I did, which was incredible, was Long Walk to Freedom with Idris Elba.
Wow.
So that was really amazing. And for me also, as a young, you know, South African girl, I was pretty much the only Black girl in my office, actually. Young Black female, you know. So it was a bit, you know, weird because, you know, obviously people kind of look down on you. But from then to now, it's completely changed. And I guess, you know, people, you know, times have just kind of changed, and we occupy spaces, and, you know, we're giving each other a chance to be in those spaces, you know? So like everywhere I work, I just love to make sure that we have, you know, a great majority of female and
representation.
Representation, you know? And we just have to occupy spaces. So Long Walk to Freedom, we had, I did Charlize Theron and Sean Penn, Javier Bardem, We've worked with Kate Beckinsale on a show called The Widow. So most of the shows that I do are either for like HBO, ABC. You know, a lot of the networks we don't get here, you know. But now at least HBO and Showmax have a little thing going on. So that's really cool. So you'll find some of the HBO series on Showmax. So that's really cool. So yeah, I mean, we did Safe House with Denzel Washington and Ryan Reynolds. You know, when my sister told me about these people, I thought she was lying. I was like, there's no way you work with these people. Yeah. And then when I got to Cape Town, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a whole hub. It's like Hollywood just flocks down there, you know? So it's really incredible. Really incredible.
And that's amazing. Yeah, sorry, carry on. Yeah.
And the last one I was just going to say was my favorite was Forrest Whitaker and Orlando Bloom. They were really my absolute faves. So
right.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you're taking me back because I remember when I was in Cape Town with you. And just to give a little bit of a background, Lunka and I know each other from grade 8. Okay. So from way back in high school. I mean, she came to my high school in Queenstown, Komani, and she was the girl from Joburg, you know, so she had the juice, you know. So I was just like, I need to know this chick, and we became friends from then. And then when I moved to Cape Town to go do radio at FM, you were also there, and you were particularly working on that Long Walk to Freedom gig, you know. And I remember you know, you had so many ups and downs, but just the whole experience for you was so incredible. And you getting into that space was also something that was pretty tough, you know, and I feel like the barriers to entry are what are really blocking us. I mean, in a place like Cape Town, where the odds are not really in your favor, right? The chances of you really being successful in Cape Town are much slimmer than in Johannesburg, for instance. How do you and how does one break into this industry when Lumka without having, you know, a sister that can refer them and that can nudge them when there's something going on?
Yeah, no, you're right, Nonala. It's really tough in Cape Town, and you know, because there's such a small community of you know, people that are in the industry, and they always use the same people for every single job, you know. And with me myself, I always love to bring different people in from different places, you know, because you know, we need to give other people a chance, you know. And my biggest thing at the moment is speaking boldly when you meet people, you know, communication and connection, you know, anywhere you go, you know, even if we're having good times, like bring up something that you do. I love that when someone, the other day I had an Uber driver saying he applied to be an art department, something, but he never got in, you know? And I love that he shared that story with me because I said, okay, which part of art department? Because let me help you, you know? So you never know who you're speaking to. So that is a very, very powerful tool if we don't know what else to do. Anytime you encounter anybody anywhere, you know, share your story, share your passions, you know, share your dreams. And you never know, especially nowadays, we all about collaborating. We're all about helping each other, you know. We're no longer bringing each other down because we know that unity, you know, there's a shift in the universe. Unity is everything, you know.
Absolutely.
So for me, if you go to Cape Town, for example, there's some really, really cool initiatives, you know, where you can be a trainee, you know, you start out as a trainee, you know. And anyone that I encounter, what I say to them is, okay, which departments, you know? Then I connect them to, you know, the training facility. And what they do is they give people a chance to be in the film world, you know, even as interns in the film world, whether it's lighting, whether it's grips, whether it's costume, makeup, you know. So there's that door, you know. So, you know, the tool is communicating with people in different spaces. And then if you happen to find someone, then, you know, you just that training program, the film, it's called the film program, you know. My sister was running the film program actually. And when it started out, she was running that. And, you know, it's for people of color. And they specifically work with females also, you know. So it's a nice space to be in because, you know, you get a chance to at least get in, you know.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And what you're saying is so important, the unity element of it. And, you know, you putting yourself out there, because I find that, and I'm going to be very specific with this one, because I know it's something you're very passionate about as well. When it comes to females in this business, right, in the film business, in the media industry, we are less likely to get to spaces and connect, right? The first thing that happens when we get to spaces is we are competitive, you know, which works against us really moving forward. How have you found, you know, that particular aspect, and how do you initiate those conversations with fellow women in the media industry?
Yeah, you know, it has been really tough, but what I realized is, um, we have to be aggressive and gentle at the same time, if that makes sense. We have to be intentional about what we do, what we say, where we say it, and how we say it, you know? So you know this about me, but I can be very feisty. But in the same breath, you know, I kill them.
Very.
I kill them
But you're also
kindness.
very nice. Oh.
I kill them with kindness, you know? And, you know, as a woman, we are so layered that we can actually, like, we can speak and people will just listen. You walk into a room and you have a gentle flair about you, you know, you have a grace, and you almost demand people to stop and watch and listen to you, you know? So like I said in the beginning, it's a conscious effort every single day. You know, you have to, when you walk into a room, you say, right, what am I here to achieve? Okay, how will I do that? You know, how will I also encourage and speak about, you know, women empowerment? For me, that is not even, it's not even a chat. Like, every time I speak to someone, no matter who it is, that is the thing that I bring up. It's women empowerment, you know, it's people of color, because we resonate with things like that. You know, we're inspired by people who are like us almost, you know. You're like, oh, that person of color did that, or oh, that woman did that, you know. And you know, reality is we are young Black females. And the only thing we can do is speak about how we can lift each other up, you know. So every time you speak, every time I speak, it's about that gentle but aggressiveness, you know, intentional. What am I here to achieve? What am I trying to do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For me,
so I mean, yeah. You have worked on some incredible projects, right? And I mean, if I'm name dropping, you know, international, multinational companies, Amazon, Netflix, you know, HBO, you name it, you have worked with these amazing people from all around the world. And there's a certain thing that they are looking for when it comes to the media industry in South Africa. What is it? You know, how can we deliver projects and proposals that speak to what is required right now?
Yeah. I mean, when we first, you know, when I started out, I used to have conversations with, you know, your producers and your directors, and these are internationals, you know, and they would just talk about how they would love to see more of local talent, more of local content. You know, they are the people who encourage me to actually start opening doors and start unlocking, you know, start actually asking those difficult questions of, actually, what are we doing here? We're servicing this industry, you know, this international industry, but we're bringing in, you know, your Idris Elbas to play Mandela, you know, which is brilliant, which is great, you know. What about us? So, you know, we're asking now those difficult questions of, what is it, you know, and what can we do to change it? And just going back to your question, they're looking for that raw, authentic, you know, talent, you know, and they want to see more of that, and they also want to invest in that, you know. I mean, you look at the company I worked with, they did The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, you know, and that was incredible. They love that, and they do more of that, you know, things with social change, economic issues, you know, things that tackle, those are the companies that I'm actually looking to connect with. People who are mindful of the world and Africa and what we can bring to the table, and they want to invest in more of that, you know. So once you connect with those people, then you find out what is it that they want, and you know, we then just communicate that way and see if we can actually give them what they want, you know.
Sure. I love that. I absolutely love that. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want you to tell us about, you know, the formats, the international formats that we're seeing so much of. It's like we're just taking a format and then we're adding South Africa. And then we think it's creative and it's amazing and it does sell. But how do we get to a place where we're creating our own original you know, programs and platforms that are incredible, that the world can buy, you know? So when we come back from the break, we'll be talking about that. We have the incredible film goddess. It's Lumka Stone here on the Boss Moves Media Show, episode 13, and we'll be back after the break.
Oh.
So we're back again. It's the Boss Moves Media Show. Let me welcome back our guest, Lumka Stone. So listen, you have such a superstar name. Let's start there. I mean, Lumka Stone is like, boom. You know, like Sharon Stone or, you know, something incredible like that. Before we get into the formats and the international formats, are you ever going to let your star shine or do you want to stay in the background? I mean, are you like a Quentin Tarantino, creating your own productions, putting yourself in the script? What's happening?
And that is exactly it. Like,
yes,
I've totally
own the value chain, darling.
I've totally found my, you know, I found my skill set and my love behind the scenes, but I still obviously will always love. So maybe I could do like a cameo, exactly that. I love that you mentioned him specifically because he's one of my favorites.
Always,
you know,
putting himself in there, sliding into the DMs.
Yeah, he's always like putting himself in there. So I love that about him. Love.
So I mean, tell me, I mean, I like that we're speaking of people like Quentin Tarantino because, you know, Hollywood has managed to build a name for itself to the point where when we talk about film, you know, we always refer to Hollywood, you know, as the benchmark. And we have now taken on so many programs and shows with international formats. Is that working for the South African context? And how can we shift?
The one thing that we really struggle with in SA is funding, right? We know that we've got such we've got talent, we've got drive, we've got, you know, we're just so talented, right? But we just don't have the money, you know? And you know what's happening in you know, the K-pop and, you know, the Korean films.
Yes.
Yeah, they're amazing and they've
blown up in our face.
Blown up out of nowhere because their government has literally decided we are going to fund the arts because art is, you know, it's global, you know. And now that there's internet and there's everything, we see the world sees us, you know. And, you know, they've decided to, you know, put money into arts, you know, and they're just kind of thriving because they have backup. They have backup. So that's what we kind of need. The formats can definitely work. At the moment, it's a bit difficult because of the funding, You know, we've got the skill set, you know, we've got the people, we've got the drive, we've got the talent, we've got the creativity, which is why they always come back to us. You know, Americans, British, the Germans, I've worked with the French, I've worked with Australians, you know, they always come back, and each and every time they talk about how incredible this industry in South Africa is and can be. And we really can be. When I worked in Scotland, I was working in Scotland for a few months, and I actually saw that, oh wow, I actually see what they mean that South Africa's world class. Not that they're not great, they're amazing, but we are just as amazing. We just don't believe in ourselves.
Right.
And once we believe in ourselves, and the format can definitely work, you know? It's so crazy that it takes one person going somewhere else to see how amazing our world is, you know? So formats can work.
Absolutely.
Formats can definitely work.
And I mean,
and
an example of this is, and I commend him for this, Steve Harvey bringing his entire production to South Africa for Family Feud, South Africa, and really creating those job opportunities, right? And then, and then you look at countries like Nigeria, where in Nigeria, the arts are booming, they're thriving. And, you know, like 100 movies are created a week. That is crazy. And as much as a lot of it is not focused on quality, it's more quantity, but still the artists and the craft is kept alive. You know, people don't go hungry because there's always work and the demand is high. So the supply is there.
And they're catering to their people, you know?
Yes.
They are giving the people what they want.
Yes, you know? Give the people what they want.
And that's what they're doing, you know? And then now we need to give the people what they want. And we're trying, but it seems like, you know, it seems very difficult, you know? And we just need that backing. Once we get that backing, it's, you know, we will unlock so much, you know? And that's really what we're kind of, you know, lobbying for at the moment, you know, more.
So you're saying the government is not funding the arts enough.
At this point. Not enough. It's actually a little bit sad how very little funding platforms for film and, you know, that we have, you know, and how long we have to wait sometimes to, you know, apply and submit, you know. And we commend them. They're doing the best they can. It would be amazing if, you know, we could just get just a little bit more, you know, just recognition. And, you know, put your talent up there. Show the world, you know, what we have. Show them, because we have amazing things, you know. Set up incubators where you're grooming talent and, you know, and put them on a global stage. Send them to America. Send them to thrive, you know. And that's really what we need to do, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, you mentioned, you know, how we really are and can only move forward with the arts. How can we then, you and me, you know, because we're not the government, but we're so passionate about building this industry, how can we create these platforms? Is there a way that we can use our networks to create these platforms? And what's the next step?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that we're put in certain places for a reason, right? And I love that I'm in the international space and I love that they speak to us about wanting to do more, you know? And we got to take that and actually run with it. You can't just be like, okay, no, maybe they're just joking, or maybe, you know, if the internationals are like, we would love to come back and do 1, 2, 3, you know, for me, that is what I can do, is get in those dollars or those pounds or those euros and just try to, you know, do amazing things, you know, with our people, right? And obviously we have, like I said, we have our funding platforms, right? And we can really build on that and use that. But we really do need international funding also. And there's a lot of platforms internationally. It's just very difficult because there's so many people globally, you know, submitting. So for me, I basically, you and I, people like you and I could just really, hone on the connections that we have globally, speak to
Sure,
those
sure.
people, see what they can offer, if they have anything to offer, Yeah.
I love that. I love that. We're going to go for a quick break. And when we come back, I want to find out from you, because you spoke about what people want, right? And creating what people want. What does the South African market want? I mean, if you're looking at platforms like Honey and Moja Love and Mzansi Magic, there's becoming a shift, right? And I want to know from you, with that bird's eye view of what's happening internationally and what we're doing here at home, what do people actually want? So it is the Boss Moves Media Show. We have the incredible Lumka Stone, film goddess, and she is giving us everything we need, hey? Everything we need to know when it comes to this business and so much more. We'll be back just now after the break. About to go live with the wonderful Lulu Bell, Lumka Stone, and anything is possible, okay? So you better tune in. It's live right now, 6 p.m., www.bossmovesmedia.com. You get the full experience there. You can go to We are back again. It's the Boss Moves Media Show, episode 13, and our guest, Lumka Stone, is in the building. Hey.
So good to be here. So good.
Thank you so much. So let's get right into it, right? You spoke about what people want. What is it that the South African market wants, and what kind of productions are people hungry for and that are selling right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy because there's different cultures, right? So basically, we want a lot of things, right? Different people want different things. We've got the young ones who are, wanting like cool stuff, and then we've got the oldish kind of crowd that want, the stuff that they can relate to, the stuff that, speaks to them, like from being elokishini or, and stuff like that. Or some people just want to escape. But as a whole, people want to relate to stories, so we want to tell stories that are relatable, want to tell stories maybe that we grew up on, and we want to tell mythical creatures that we grew up on, but in a very, very
you mean like Tokoloshi
or Pinky, but in a very or small boy, those things where we look in the mirror, and also like using virtual reality where it literally gives us goosebumps, not like just the normal we know about
like
those
Lisilo.
We want to make it Lisilo, we want to make it real, because I mean when we watched it back then, right, it was insane, right? So we can recreate that world, and I'm very focused on horror at the moment because it's just so cool. But we can recreate all of that and give people what we grew up on. I love mythical creatures. Amakushesh, thing like Yizo was so cool, right? But things that happen on Lokshini, things that are happening for real, but on a big scale, on a grand scale. I mean, we're talking about Shaka Zulu the other day. Things like Shaka Zulu on like a Game of Thrones level would be so sick, you know?
Mind
So
blowing.
mind blowing. When you think of stuff like that, like give the people what they want. They want your Shaka Zulus, Battle of Sunshine, stuff like that. But in the same breath, they want to also see stuff that they're seeing on your Netflixes and stuff, HBO. They're watching Game of Thrones and they're like, yo, we can create that through Shaka Zulu or, stuff like that. So we're giving them what they want, but also on a grand scale and, next level stuff where it's insane.
I get that. And then you look at a production, and I mean, all of that kind of requires money, right? It requires some level of funding. And then you look at productions like the one that recently won a huge American accolade, My Octopus Teacher, and how this is a documentary basically where he was following this octopus in a kelp forest deep in the ocean out there, and it was just simple type of production, but he was able to put it together and kind of sell it to a Netflix that gives you that kind of funding. So how far then can you go in capturing content using what you have, the resources you have, and selling that to international platforms?
Yeah, exactly, Nonala. Distribution is a very, very big part of filmmaking.
Yes.
You can make something and then it sits, it sits in archives or it sits on the net, So distribution is really, really massive, and you want to put all of your energy into distribution. But what you want to also do is really think about it from the very beginning, before you even start principal photography. You want to think about, where am I going to put this? Who's going to see this stuff? What kind of people are going to see this, And once you've decided that, you'll know that my whole theory is that a film or a series or a documentary, whatever it is, you need to draw out its lifespan, right?
Okay.
And you almost have to do your research on, for example, I would send a film to a film festival first because they usually want to be the first to premiere. So once you've sent it elsewhere, they kind of don't really want to take it on once it's been maybe on streaming platforms, and then you send it to film festival. They almost want to be the first to actually premiere the stuff. So you send it to film festival. Yeah, the hype, first screened here at, whatever festival it is, that's what they want. Then from there, you take it to your cinemas or your drive-ins. We're creating drive-ins now since COVID,
Yes, and I love that.
It's amazing. I mean, I haven't seen one in Joburg, but in Cape Town, there's like drive-ins and there's open-air cinemas, When last did you go to a drive-in? You just take your car and then you have but like outside in the because cinemas were closed, so we're like, how do we get together safely?
I remember I watched my first big flick. I watched it Scope, and that was Sarafina in 1994. I was 7 years old, right, in grade 1, and that vision never comes out of my mind. Like it never leaves, right?
It'll never leave you, because that is that world, and we're almost recreating that world. We're going back to it, and that kind of distribution where you think about your marketing strategy. What are we going to do? Are we going to do exhibitions? Are we going to? It does cost, but you can also ticket sales and stuff. And then from there, then you take it to your streaming platforms or whatever, where it stays and it lives. So you almost like. You use that, the lifespan of the film should be fully utilized, from the very beginning until it sits then on your web or your, streaming platforms. And so distribution is really, really important. And going to your Netflix is like, my Octopus Teacher, went to Netflix, saw that they filmed it, and then they went to Netflix, and, everyone watched it, and look at them now,
award-winning.
Powerful stuff,
You speak of these platforms, and I have a bit of a concern, because when it comes to intellectual property, we're always at the back foot. I mean, you look at productions like The Lion King, where, you know, the guy who wrote the Mbobe song is nowhere to be seen, not credited, was not given the right compensation. His family is poor in Soweto. He died a pauper. And that is the reality of what happens when it comes to productions that come out of our continent in general. What are the IP things that you need to know in terms of intellectual property when it comes to selling your products to international companies, productions, platforms?
We're at such a danger of being exploited, you know. And
because we're hungry, Lumka.
I was about to say that, because we're like, we need to eat, you know. So you just want to give away your product. You want to give it away, you know. And, you know, sometimes you might need to, for your first time around, as a filmmaker, you'll keep making films, right? And you know, it depends what you're going to do, you know. And for me, networks like Netflix, right? They will maybe first of all buy, right, and license your stuff, and then maybe commission it after, you know. And I think it's so important contractually that you check out, you know, what you're getting, you know, what you're doing, and for how long can you get it back, can you keep it, you know. And also it's so important for us to have maybe like a, you know, a commission where it's all about policies and ensuring that we protect our you know, our stories, you know. I mean, like Samro, right? We gotta have
wait. Are you telling me that the film industry does not have a platform like that at the moment?
We don't necessarily know.
Okay.
We don't necessarily know, which is why it's so easy for people to, you know, sell rights so without thinking twice, you know. And that's why I say we're at such a danger to be exploited, you know, because we don't really have almost like a union, or, you know. And we really need that. We really do. It's almost like every company to themselves, kind of a thing. You get your lawyer, and you decide what you decide and how you decide it, you know.
We hustle our way through it, right?
So that.
And speaking of which, and I mean, speaking of, you know, trying to hustle your way through it and you know, learning as you go, as somebody who did study and has a background in the educational element of, you know, film production, even though your focus was mainly drama, what are you seeing in terms of, you know, graduates from the film industry? Are they getting enough exposure? Are they, you know, are they taking up the initiative to create productions? Is there a lack of resources? What's happening when it comes to graduates? Because I see, you know, a lot of people are coming up, just like the radio industry. The people who are most successful are people who never even studied radio. The people who studied radio are at a call center somewhere, you know?
Yeah, it's so sad. And what I always, when I come across, you know, graduates, especially in the film industry, you know, I always look back and I think to myself, you know, I wish I had focused a lot more in varsity, you know, because you're at a danger of thinking, oh, I'll just deal with it after varsity, you know. But when you start building things from varsity, you know, building your resume almost, sort of, you know, you're real, you know, you want to create really powerful stuff, you know, from varsity. Create powerful stuff so that when you get out, you know, you already have credentials, you have something that you can show, you know. So focus on after, what am I going to do after, you know, in 3 years time, once I'm out of here, it's going to be really difficult to get your foot in, you know. But if you have a show reel, you know, of stuff, that really cool stuff that you've done, you know, go out and just shoot whatever it is. Like, get a camera, go do stuff. Don't just think, oh, you know, I'll think about it after. So people that come into the industry, it almost feels like they're not really keen. It almost feels like that, you know. And that's why people that are hungry, that have never done it before, you take them in, you know. But in the same breath, people that have studied arts and that have studied film, you know, we do look for them. We do look for them. It's just that I don't know if they look for us as much as, you know, people that, you know, they almost feel like people will come to them.
Yes.
They don't.
That sense of entitlement, right?
Yeah. And we always laugh about, you know, students from certain varsities that just, you know, think that I've directed this, so I'm not going to make tea. And it's like, you start there. I started as a trainee. I made tea. I answered phones, you know.
Right.
You start
And it's
out.
easy to get uppity, Lumka. It's so easy to get uppity, especially when you spent a lot of money in education, right? From a prestigious, you know, college or institution, and you feel like you're the best in the business, but you really haven't put the work in. You know, and it takes me back, and I remember when you were starting out, I remember I hired my vehicle to you for a month. That's so funny. You were like, friend, I'm in this production and I need a car. And I was like, okay, I'll just walk to work because I worked just like a street away from the SABC. And those, look at how that is paying off, right? Because you paid your dues, you put in the time.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly it. I was ready to risk it. I was like, you know, what can I do? Fine, I'll make coffee. I'll, you know, because I saw a world that I was like, wow, I love this world, you know? And that's just it. You got to put in, do whatever you need to do, you know, borrow your friend's car if you can.
Yes.
Walk to the train station. I used to take trains to work, you know, in Cape Town. I used to take trains to work. And yeah, it's all paid off. It really, really has.
Right. So we're going to take our final break. And in the last 15 minutes of the show, I want you to tell us about the new film industry. I mean, now post-pandemic, what are we looking forward to, and how have things changed, you know, and how can we adapt to this new change, and also what we can look forward to when it comes to Lumka Stone and all the incredible things that you're working on and doing right now. It is the Boss Moves Media Show, episode 13, with the incredible Lumka Stone. We'll be back just now. Don't go anywhere. We are back again. This is the Boss Moves Media Show, episode 13, with the incredible Miss Lumka Stone. And I mean, you know, the media industry, and specifically the film industry, where box office is concerned, has always been a bone of contention, right? I mean, it's either we don't have the funding to create all of these box office hits, or when the movies are at the box office, people are reluctant to go watch a local movie. The artists are not getting paid enough money. There's always just something. And then the pandemic came, right? And with the pandemic, cinemas closed down, some completely. Artists were out of work for months on end. And according to the NFVF recently released a report, the South African box office report, and it laid bare the devastation that the pandemic has caused where box office is concerned. I mean, it says here, box office revenue declined by 1.2 billion rands in 2020. Yeah. We cannot afford this. Yeah. You know, yeah. What is the future of the box office, right, in particular, but of the film industry in general?
Yeah, no, Nala, it's actually really devastating, everything that's happened, you know. Livelihoods have just been totally like, you know, broken down. But I think we are almost shedding to create newness, you know, to create a whole new world and different way of working, you know. And we are slowly going back into everything. We really are. And for me, what I see kind of working, and we spoke about this the other day, technology, you know, I mean, things like virtual reality and augmented reality, such a big thing. And, you know, we almost have to look at what the world, where we're headed, you know, and as individuals, how can we fit in there? You know, like I mentioned, we have your little, your drive-ins and your open air cinemas, and that's what we can work with at the moment. But also, we have amazing, you know, networks like Amazon who are looking at having an Amazon Africa, you know, so that should be coming very, very soon. And, you know, we'll have them. And, you know, thanks to Beyonce, Disney is looking at coming in 2022, you know, Apple TV, you know, a lot of people are now looking to, you know, invest in African content, you know. So that's the shift at the moment. And once that kind of comes, and it's coming like really, really soon, we can really, really, you know, use that and have that to kind of uplift us and generate more, you know, and cover what we've lost almost, you know, hopefully. But I think it really will. I really think it will. Yeah, those networks they're coming.
And when they come,
we'll be ready. We'll be ready.
So how do we prepare ourselves for the coming of the kings of the industry?
I always say collaboration, man.
Yeah.
We can never do things alone. Like, I need you, you need me. We need to work together. We need to brainstorm. We need to see how are we going to be great? What's going to make us great? How can we own the value chain? How can we protect our arts together? You know, we need to collaborate. We need to all connect and show like a unified front in the industry, you know. And we're almost like an army. You can build it like an army, you know, and just kind of show them exactly what we have. And also what I believe in is, you know, within the international landscape, what I'm pushing to do is get people to train with the directors and the producers, you know, so that at least when we're done on that job, you know, then you at least have maybe at least directed maybe a scene or an episode on an international with, you know, a really, really cool director like Sean Penn or, you know, Philip Noyce or, you know, just those really, really rad directors, you know. So that's something that I'm pushing for the future. Yeah,
I absolutely love that. And I mean, you know, when the international companies do take on all of these local productions, and they have already, but not, you know, on a large scale, what have you seen really that we need to improve as filmmakers in South Africa, in Africa, and just creatives in the way that we work that is not of international standards? So how can we get up there with the big dogs?
Shame. The one thing with, you know, South Africans is that with talent, first of all, we always use the same kind of people, you know. And if you look at national series, you don't know those people. Who are they? You don't know them until they're famous, you know, until you watch them on Game of Thrones, then you're like, oh, Jon Snow. Before that, you didn't know, you know, what they're doing. They're taking raw talent, not popularity, right? They're taking raw talent. They're getting, you know, dialogue coaches. They're getting them coached, you know. They're getting them really prepped. You know, they actually they're spending time on them because they know that these people are going to do amazing things. We need to do that, we need to look for really, really incredibly talented people as opposed to popularity. That's the one thing that we're actually really falling back on, is the talent that we're going for might not necessarily be the talent that we need, or we just need to, give coaching. We need more budgets for, coaching, because we don't. We just like, uzobona, afunda my lines, learn your lines, try to act yourself and come with your best foot forward,
Sure,
So
sure.
you put it on, the actor, but, we need to actually try to, meet them halfway.
Yeah. So the training and development is lacking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, we've got incredible directors, producers, we've got incredible cameramen, lighting, we've got amazing people. So we're almost there, we just need to focus on our talent.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to innovation, what are you creating and what's on the cards? What can we look forward to?
Yes. So, I mean, as you know, I do a whole lot of things all the time. I'm always juggling stuff, right? But I'm
the
really
life of a creative.
The life of a creative. I'm a freelancer, a commitment phobe.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I'm doing an Amazon Prime series called The Power. It's based on a book about women around the world with superpowers, which is really, really incredible in its own, because I mean, the whole office is women, our directors are all female. The owners of the production house in the UK are called Sister Pictures, and they're amazing. They are sisters.
Yes!
So there's so much power in the power, And we've been doing it since 2018. We've been filming in Durban, around a lot of places. And so doing that, and also particularly interested in virtual reality at the moment, storytelling through VR, storytelling and feature films. And so that's what I'm looking at doing. I mean, that's where we're moving towards,
Yes.
augmented reality, virtual reality. So very focused on that. And, just then also developing our own docu-series, and just showing the world what we've got.
Sure. And I mean, when you talk about augmented and virtual reality, I'm trying to picture it in the film context. Is it like films where you have a film and then Delela yourself, you can decide how the ending goes? Like, what kind of virtual reality are you talking about?
Yes, exactly.
Or can we immerse ourselves and be actors in it?
Yes, exactly that. Exactly that. You immerse yourself, you become the character. I mean, you can be the antagonist or the protagonist. You can be the evil person, or you can be the the good guy. And that in itself is so powerful. I mean, I think although you might be I think it's a little bit scary if it's a horror and you kind of falling, or something happens, you might get a little bit of a panic attack because it feels so real. It's so real. So that's what we're looking at the moment.
That's very interesting. Yeah. So I mean, how would that work? How does it work generally? Is it algorithms that decide what to respond in this way, then this is how it goes? How does it work? I'm curious.
And what I mentioned earlier, technology, right? So we have technologists who actually create like you were saying, the algorithm, coding, and you film it as though you're filming a normal film, and then you take it to the technologists who actually make it immersive experience. Then you have an exhibition, maybe in a venue somewhere, a stage or whatever, and you dress the set, and then you invite the people. They come into that world. The set is already dressed. You got your headgear. The technologists have put everything together and created that world. So I think it's going to be a really, really interesting time. Because
I instantly thought of so many new jobs that we've never thought of that are going to be created because of this. I mean, have you thought of any new career paths regarding, you know, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, post-pandemic world.
Absolutely. And, you know, we all actually got to hop on that train. And I think that's why I'm focusing on that at the moment, because that's where we're moving to, Nonala, you know?
Yeah.
We're moving into that world. I mean, you look at Japan and I mean, in Singapore, they're just really out there, you know? And yeah, coding and, you know, tech, the Internet of Things, like you said, that is really our world, you know? And we can't, you know, we can't be left behind. Hop on that
So
train.
no more winging it. We now need to get into the books, right? Going back to the books.
Actually, yeah, we need to be smart about things. We can't just wing things and we just got a feeling. No, like you know, or you know, that's why another thing, collaboration is the big thing. You know, you're the creative and you come with a concept and you collaborate with someone who is an IT guy, you know, and kind of gets the stuff and you know, you do it together, work together. Another person knows how to network and speak to the people. Come on, let's do it, you know.
People who make up for where you lack. I love that. I love that. And I mean, I cannot leave without asking you this very important question, because you know, when it comes to being a female in the media industry, and particularly in the film industry, where you shoot for hours and days and months and years on end, you know, without breaks, and you get like a hiatus once in a year if you're lucky. How do you balance? How do you find that balance as a woman where you're like, I am a woman in the film industry, but I'm also a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a girlfriend. I want to be all of these things.
You know, it's so tough, especially with us culturally, because I would say, you know, you need a good support system. You know, if this is the world you want to be in, you really are not going to really have a lot of time. But if you have a great, like, you know, the daddy's got to be there, you know, or you know, you got to have a really, really good support system, or anyone around you, you know, build that community. I mean, that's what we always say. We grew up with our grandmothers and our aunts and stuff, you know. We gotta use that, and it is difficult, Nanala. Like the hours are insane, you know, and as a woman, it's that much tougher. But also, we can maybe try have, you know, those people around us, you know, that community that we trust and that we can actually, you know, really, really look to, you know. We can't do everything alone. We can't do everything ourselves. We're not those strong females that, you know, we've been designed to kind of be. We need help. We need help.
And I mean, you know, I love that you say that, because I have a platform called Momafluencers, and it particularly focuses on women and mothers in particular in the media industry, you know, because our spaces do not support motherhood. You know, my baby could just run in here and be part of this conversation, and other people would think, oh, that's so unprofessional. But a mother would think, that is so real. You know, I can relate.
So real. Yes, exactly. And I mean, we see in New Zealand with, you know, we see the mother having the baby in, you know, in at work. And it's like,
in production.
That should be normal. I mean, I love that, you know, some of the jobs, my sister was able to bring her child onto set, and that is taboo. It's frowned upon, but somehow she was able to do that, you know, because, you know, that community of, no, bring your child, it's okay, you know. I mean, not that we'll have a crash, but, you know, we gotta be able to, we have to be, you know, sensitive to that, you know. Community is everything.
Everything. And I think the onus is now on us, you know, the new filmmakers and production company owners, to really create spaces that are friendly for moms, dads, you know, families.
Exactly that, Nonala. We need to do that as, you know, producers and stuff. We have to actually make it okay, because it's seen as not okay, but actually we gotta, design those places and those spaces and just allow that. You know,
you are so amazing. I mean, chatting to you now is, you know, you opened up a whole new world for a lot of us, and I really appreciate you. You do such incredible work. Continue to shine because we're watching you, okay?
Sure.
And you're our star. No, for real. I mean, you're gonna go out there, take over Hollywood, bring it back home, you know, create the bridge. That's how I see you, girl. And
That's
we're
so
really
much
so
to
proud
you.
of you.
Thank you so much, Nanala. I really, really appreciate it. And I appreciate you in my world. You know,
Oh,
together we
you're
can do
great.
this.
Yes, we're doing it.
We can
Thank
do
you
it.
so much, Lumka. Thank you
you.
for being part of the Boss Moves Media Show, and we love you. Okay.
Lots of love. Thank you.
Lots of love.
Okay.
That's Lumka Stone. Oh my gosh, such an incredible woman. Boss Moves Media Show, episode 13. It's a wrap. Thank you for joining us. We absolutely love you. I'll be back with you next week, Friday, with another amazing person in the media industry who's going to bring us life, as we always do here on the Boss Moves Media Show. I love you. My name is Nala. Bye-bye.